My name is Peter Benoit, and the story is entitled My First Job. So it's spring. I had just gotten out of college, and I was hired by a bank down in Albany. So my career started in human resources, actually ended in human resources. So I was hired into a small department with one of the institutions in downtown Albany. So it's a perfect spring day, cobalt blue skies. It's very breezy. I remember my hair getting blown around. My suit jacket, my tie flew off to the side. Okay, so it's a windy day. And downtown Albany at that time wasn't as developed as it is now. Down near the bus station, there were vagrants, there were homeless people. There were a number of gentlemen who used to like to sit on benches with their morning orange juice in a brown paper bag with the neck rolled down and enjoy their libations. So all of that was in place. And I get to the parking lot, park my car. It's a short 5-minute, 8-minute walk to the building. And my boss, Susan, happens to show up about the same time. And Susan is this older woman. She probably had 20 years on me. I knew she was ancient. She was about 46. She was married. She had 2 boys she talked about all the time, loved her husband, Ed, was all good. And Susan was really humorous. She was, at that point in time, I used to compare her personality to kind of a combination of Phyllis Diller and Joan Rivers. You know, she had lots of blonde hair. It was always well coiffed. And even during my interview with her, it kind of got out of control. As a human, she was head of the HR department. She was a vice president. But she did some really comical things in the interview. I mean, her life was about bright and light and happy, be that as it is. So we're in the parking lot. She comes in. As colleagues, we decided to walk to the office together. It makes sense. So being the man that I was, raised by my dad to respect women, the voices of the nuns from the Sisters of Charity in my head telling me, you know, women are sacred. You treat them right. You respect them, especially if they're married. I was single, so it was really off limits to do anything untoward. So being the gentleman that I was taught to be, I'm walking by the curb. Susan's by the side of the building, and I knew that if the horses came by and splashed in a puddle, I'd get wet, Susan would be dry, life is good, the nuns would be happy, my dad would be proud. It was all good. So as we're walking along, to this point, you should know that Susan was dressed in really nice summer colors. She had on a bright blue blouse and she wore a sweater like ladies do with the button up here, and it kind of covered her shoulders. And she had this skirt on that was kind of wavy. It was white. Okay, and so that was that. And the reason I remember is because as we're walking along, her high heel gets stuck in the grate in the side of the building. Okay, and she's struggling to get it out. So the gentleman that I am, hear my dad, I can hear the nuns. I get down on one knee, and I'm wrangling, trying to wrangle her shoe out of the grate, and I'm struggling. So I see cigarette butts, I see beer bottle caps, I see grass growing along the wall, all of this, and then suddenly the wind blows, okay? It lifts Susan's skirt up into the air over my head, okay? I'm kneeling directly in front of my boss underneath her skirt, okay? So, it was not my best day. So I'll leave it up to each of you to decide what I might have seen while I was in the shade, so to speak. So at that moment, I ripped her shoe out of the grate because I just was freaked out. I wasn't embarrassed. I didn't blush. I was mortified, and I wasn't purple. I was mahogany. I was so red, okay? My goal as a new employee was to have this progressive career in human resources, go up the ladder, up the food chain, and do the best I could as an employee. Well, at that moment, I just knew it was dashed. I mean, here I am, 6 weeks into a job, and I have my head under my boss's dress. I mean, it doesn't go well, especially in human resources, sorry. So Susan, while my head is under her dress, Susan is giggling, okay? She thinks it's funny, okay? I'm dying 15 deaths, okay? So there she is. So I extricate myself. We walk to the building. I say nothing. Susan's laughing the entire way. Okay, the winds continue to blow her skirt, and she's doing one of these things here. So we get to the office, big open space. I'm over in the corner, I'm the clerk in the corner, she's the vice president with the office down by the window. So I'm just locked to my desk, looking at my computer, I'm doing nothing but work. I want to be invisible, I want to dematerialize, I just want to disappear. So the morning goes quiet for me, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty comfortable. Towards lunchtime, one of the vice presidents come down, excuse me, one of the executive vice presidents comes down from the C-suites. He's on the 3rd floor, we're on the 2nd. Jim comes down, I don't pay much attention to him. He walks by me and he slaps me on the back and he says, I hear you're gonna get a good performance review this year. Well, at that moment, I knew my career had evaporated. I had no aspirations at all for any kind of success as a professional working in the bank. But I have to say, Susan eventually did promote me and all was forgiven. So my new job. Thank you.